Good morning, everybody. I'm Susan Barber from Atlanta, Georgia. I work at Grady High School, and I wanted to pass on a little wisdom to you, just a few reminders about multiple choice. These are probably things that your teachers told you through the year to remember, but here, just as we're fine tuning and building confidence going into the exam, I thought I would give you a few reminders. So, the first thing when you approach the multiple choice, remember you can approach it any way you want to. You don't have to work through in order, but since it is such a time constraint, most students just work through the questions and the passages in the order that they come. So that's usually what I advise. Just start at the beginning and work all the way through but you don't have to. What I would advise is don't try anything different on test day. So if you haven't practiced something during your practice multiple choice exams during class, don't try anything new on test day. Just do what you've been doing. So when you approach a passage, you should always read the title and any date or any side notes that College Board gives you. If they're giving you any information along with the title, consider that a gift. They're giving it to you for a reason. So you should read and consider that. And then I usually advise my students to go ahead and read, after they read the title and any additional information, quickly read the question stems, not the answers, and it should be quick, but read the stems. And that's going to do a couple of things. Number one, it's going to give you a purpose for reading. And number two, just reading the stems is going to give you some information about the passage, so it's going to help you understand it when you're reading it. So title, any extra information, read the question stems quickly, and then work through the passage. Now, when you're working through the passage, it's not going to be like in class when you really have a lot of time to dive in and analyze, but you probably have more time than you think. So you need to read quickly, but you need to work through the passage, read with purpose too. So do that, and then the next thing to remember is that the questions that you're going to be asked are going to be big picture questions about the passage and small details. So when you're reading, you want to have some big picture ideas about the tone and characterization and the theme, but also you're going to be looking at some small details such as grammar and vocabulary and different support for ideas. So think big picture and think small details when you're reading it, when you're reading through. Questions, when you go to answer your questions, a couple of things to remember about the questions. So the questions will pretty much work through the passage in order. So you're not going to have like a question from line 15 and then a question from line 3 and then a question from line 25. The questions are going to work through the passage in order. However, the level of difficulty will be mixed. So you could have an easy question next to a really difficult question, followed by a couple of medium questions. So questions go through the passage in order, but the level of difficulty is varied throughout the questions. Now, there are going to be a couple of questions, one, maybe two questions for each passage that is really hard, and this usually separates the 4s from the 5s. So when you get to that question, if you're not sure and you're really gonna think you have to spend a long time, just narrow down your options, make your best educated guess, and move forward. You really don't want to spend like 5 minutes on one question, and that one question per section is not going to derail your whole multiple choice. All questions are worth the same amount. The easy ones are worth the same amount as the hard ones. So you don't want your time eaten up on a really difficult question, because then you may run out of time at the end to answer some of the easier questions. So do your best, narrow options, and then make your best guess and move forward and try to answer as many questions that you know, or as many easy questions as you can. And if you have time left, then you can come back and look at those questions that trick you up. Also, if you've narrowed answers and you're not sure which answer, just remember that answers, all of the answers in the passage, they will never contradict each other. So if you've narrowed to a couple of answers or 3 answers and you're not sure which one, go back and look at the rest of the answers, the ones especially that you're confident about, and then choose the answer that best aligns itself with those answers, because all of the right answers are going to work together. They won't contradict each other. And finally, just relax and do your thing. I mean, you've been prepping all year for this, and if you've been doing the work, you're going to be ready. So try to just rely on your instinct. Try not to second guess yourself, and just confidently work through the questions, answer what you can, make your best calculated guess at the ones that you're unsure of, and just keep moving forward. And you're going to do great if you've put in the work all year. So good luck to you. We're rooting for you. I have no doubt that y'all are going to do great this year.